Hello everyone, welcome to Career Essentials. My name is Chira and today we're going to do another career path, and this time it's going to be acting. I'm really excited about this one because this one is very different to some of the other ones I've done so far. And today joining with us is Ed. How are you doing today, Ed?
Hi Chira, I'm really well, thank you.
That's good. Thank you very much for joining us today, Ed. I really appreciate your time. What this is all about is to help you understand about different career paths and what they're all about, so that you get a feel for them, whether you've just finished school, college, university, or even if you're doing some research about it, just to get an idea of what certain careers are. So let's get straight to it, Ed. Tell us, what is, I know it may sound very cliche, but what is acting in a nutshell? What's it all about?
A famous person once said that acting is being truthful under imaginary circumstances. And what that means basically is that you don't act, you try to be truthful. So a lot of people think acting is kind of being all over the top and flamboyant and playing a character. And that kind of was the case back a long time ago. Nowadays, acting is more about being as truthful as you can. And so it's really about trying to be yourself and actually feel your own emotions and use your own memories and your own personality, but channel that through whatever character you're playing to just make it as real as possible.
Right, I see. Because it's so clear, people can see right through if you're pretending. Acting is not about pretending to be a certain character, but actually living that through the emotions that bring out that true essence of it.
And especially on camera. On stage you can get away with it, people are farther away from your face. You can put on a great performance and be acting, right? And sometimes you need to act on stage, but especially on camera, cameras don't like acting, they like truth. And you can't control all of the micro expressions of your face in a realistic way when you're acting. So all you can do is try to genuinely feel whatever you're supposed to be feeling and really kind of be in that imaginary circumstance. And then it kind of does the work for it. Then you don't have to think too much about it. You can not think and just let it flow out of you. And that's kind of the whole art of it. And that's the whole craft, is trying to get as close to that truth as you can. And the closer you can get there, the better the acting is.
Right. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Fantastic. Now, for someone who is interested in getting into a career field in acting, how do they start? What are the basic? Is that sort of qualification that you need to do, or is there no such thing?
Well, the traditional way used to be you would go through a 3-year drama school, and that's still widely done in the UK. And there's a lot of drama schools, and you would go there, you would do your time, learn the craft, come out, and hey ho, you are an actor. But that method is changing within the industry at the moment, and really in Britain we're catching up. It's already changed in America and the rest of the Western world, and we're now playing catch up. And what it's changed to is, rather than going through the traditional 3-year drama school, you go to classes and you kind of train on a part-time basis. So in America, most of the big actors, they'll go to a drama school of a sort, but it won't be a kind of fixed 3-year term thing. It'll be, all right, I go to classes 2-3 times a week, and I do a couple of hours, and then I'm learning about different methods, whether it's Stanislavski or Meisner or method acting or whatever that school teaches, and you perfect your craft on a weekly basis. Eventually, to go on to learn on the job as well is where you really start learning. So the industry's changing in that way. You no longer have to go to drama school to become an actor. In fact, I heard a statistic the other day that I think 80% of actors on Coronation Street, which we're in Manchester, so very local, never went to drama school, and they all learned from going to classes. So the industry's opening up. There's different ways into it. It's still very hard. You're not guaranteed to become successful whether you go to a drama school or take acting classes or any other route. There's chances and luck involved in everything.
Wow, that's interesting. So would you say it's because it's a case where you go for acting school and taking acting class or doing a course, would you say anyone sort of pick it up at any point? You don't necessarily have to have be in your early 20s around to sort of pick it up and when you.
Definitely, yeah. Like I ran a little acting class a couple of weeks ago, and I had 10 people who none of them had ever done any acting before, as far as I know, from my age upwards to Trev, who was I think he's in his 50s, 60s,
Yeah.
and he did just as well as anyone else. He picked up on all the ideas, and he was able to kind of progress the scene and get more and more truthful, like I was talking about before. So age doesn't really matter. You can pick it up whenever you want to.
Yeah.
If it's something you've been passionate about and you've never done it, go and find a class. You might not end up being doing it professionally, but if you enjoy it and you're passionate about it, do it just for that sake alone. So I wouldn't put an age limit on it. So,
Okay.
however, saying that, caveat would be, if you want to do it professionally, the younger you start, the better.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like anything.
Yeah, I suppose. If you've done your school plays, drama, theatre, and stuff, so obviously that a lot of help. But that shouldn't necessarily, if you haven't done it, it shouldn't stop you from starting. Just go for it because there are so many characters out there from the whole spectrum of ages. So you can obviously find something that's going to suit you.
That's right, yeah. I mean, a lot of people think that I can't be an actor or an actress because I don't have the certain looks, or I don't fit the general boy next door, the girl next door, which is a load of rubbish, because acting is a mirror of society and a mirror of real life. So they need real people to be actors and actresses with the looks of real people. Obviously, if you've got the kind of Brad Pitt face or whatever, that sometimes can get you a bit of a fast track in. But literally whatever, all types and shapes and sizes are needed for film and TV and theatre. So everyone's got a spot, everyone's got their own place if they can find it.
Hero or villain.
Hero or villain, yeah. I like to play a bit of both.
Right, fantastic. So I'm getting the sense that this is sort of a career where you've got to really create it. There's no sort of a strict sort of step-by-step guideline to say, you finish college, you do this, you do a degree, and you specialize in a postgraduate degree, or you do a PhD, or it's something that you gotta. There's no sort of a step-by-step guideline, but you sort of gotta create for yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, that's one of the hard things about getting into acting, is that there isn't a guidebook as such. There isn't a step-by-step process.
Yeah.
You have to make your own way. And so you do that by having good guidance, good mentors, and a good acting class will, usually provide that.
Right.
But it's hard, man. It's not easy. Everyone has made their own route into it, and you can try to follow other people and take their example, but it's never guaranteed. So
I suppose that gives you that sort of flexibility where if you're doing a full-time job already, acting career, you can sort of pursue on the side, when on your free time, and go take some acting classes, and then hopefully get some auditions and try it out, because it's sort of flexible in that sense. You can.
I would say about actually.
No?
Yeah. So on one point you're right. If you've got a full-time job, you can definitely go and do acting classes and improve your craft, and it's usually weeknights or weekends or whatever.
Yeah.
In terms of auditions, going to auditions with a full-time job is incredibly hard, because usually they fall within weekdays, working hours, and unless you've got a job that you can get out at the last minute and take an hour off to run to wherever the studio is, you're going to miss out. And auditions don't come that often, right? So you kind of need to take them every time you get them.
Yeah. Well, that's good to know. Good to know. It's one of those things that's the kind of information that I like to get across to people out there. It's what's really going on out there in the industry. It's the reason why I'm interviewing individuals and experts, professionals in the relative respective industries, so that you get a real feel for what it's like. So yes, you do have that sort of flexibility and liberty to do it on your own, but at the same time, if you've got a full-time job, once you start getting the auditions, you've got to make that commitment to go full-time with it, because that's where the time goes.
Yeah. You either, make the jump and try and make it work by quitting your part-time job, which is what I'm currently doing, and then try to just kind of keep getting acting work. On the one hand, it means you have a lot more free time to use to pursue it. On the other hand, if the work doesn't come in, which it often doesn't, you've got to make that work and stretch yourself, and go without work quite frequently, and try to get by in that kind of in that way, which is hard. It really is hard. And I think everyone probably goes through the period where they think, God, like a normal 9-to-5 job would be so much easier. Like, just that pay packet, and I'd be stable, and it's a huge trade-off.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge in this industry. It's a challenge with that freelance work sort of thing.
Yeah.
My next question is, is there a type of personality that suits this line of work? Because in some careers there is personality that would suit that career. So would you say in acting is that the case?
I don't think there's a type of personality as such that suits it. Like I said before, acting takes all sorts, little and large, confident and shy. All types of people and personalities are reflected on TV and film. So there's always a position for whatever you are like as a person, if you can find it. I suppose there's certain qualities that are helpful. You need to be able to be vulnerable, and to be okay with being vulnerable, whether that's an audition or actually working. And I suppose the other thing is probably empathy, because you're always going to try to relate to the character and think about, okay, why is he in this position? Why is he, she this way? And try to kind of work out that story around them. And if you don't, and this is something you can develop. It's not really a personality thing. It's a skill that you can work on, I suppose. But if you like that anyway, if you're a bit of a people watcher, that could be helpful.
Right. Wow, that's very insightful. Then, so vulnerability and empathy. Yeah, that goes a long way. Right. That's good to know. My next question is that now social media, is creeping into us from our day-to-day work to every industry. Social media has an impact. So how do you see social media? What role does it play in acting as a career and in that industry? How is social media affecting with an actor and your progress? Is that helpful, or is it challenging, competitive?
Both.
All.
I mean, all of it. It offers a lot of opportunity on the one hand. You're able to market yourself much more easily. You have the opportunity to get your name and your face and your work out there to people. Everyone's interconnected, so you're only ever a tweet away from someone who's in control of whatever or in charge. Not that always is helpful. The downside to that is so does everyone else, right? So the opportunities have increased, but they've increased across the board. So it's still a level playing field for everyone in that sense. So you don't really have an advantage over everyone else. What you do have is a disadvantage if you're not using it, right? So if you're not using social media, you're then behind the pack. So it's kind of like another thing that you have to do in order just to keep up with everyone else, I suppose. So yeah, social media, you've got to be out there marketing yourself, you've got to be visible, and you've got to try to sell yourself. I mean, they always say being an actor is being a businessman, really, and the product is you. And so you've got to try to sell yourself as you would if you were selling a product in a business. That means marketing and targeting your audience and how you're selling yourself and all the same things that would go into a product, but reflected onto your own being, which is weird and hard and a bit strange to do, which is why a lot of people struggle with it and don't do it.
Yeah. So yes, social media is beneficial in the sense that it gives you that platform to get your that online portfolio across out there for anyone to access. At the same time, it makes it very competitive because everyone's doing it out there. But the most important thing is to get yourself out there and to use it, because if you didn't use it, you'll be really falling behind. So use social media to your advantage in acting. Right, fantastic. Moving on to my next question. What do you see is the future of acting? Got so much going on. We spoke about social media. Netflix is, dominating the market. Amazon is. The whole phase of TV is changing. There's YouTube, and people have more sort of a selective, optional, flexible thing when it comes to watching TV series, cinema, movies. What's you see the future of acting as a career, being an actor, what is in the future?
So the general trend of the industry is going from satellite television stations to online, right?
Yeah.
Everything's going online, including TV, films, all of that media industry. So you've got the likes of Netflix and Amazon now creating their own TV series, financing it, getting all the actors in, you know, the directors, putting it together, and then releasing it in a batch, in one whole go, for people to live stream whenever they want, not live stream, but to watch it in all in one go, whenever they most choose to. Which is a big change, right? Because there used to be a time when you'd have to wait week by week to see anything. So that's gonna really change the face of the industry. I'm not sure exactly how. At the moment, it means that a lot more is being produced. There's many more production companies out there now that are kind of providing these TV series for the likes of Amazon and Netflix, as well as the old original players. So there's a lot more being churned up and produced and sent out there. Obviously, you know, a lot of it doesn't work, and it might be one season and then that's it, it's dropped. But on the whole, there's more TV out there for people to watch. And you know, the population of the world just keeps on rising, so you don't need to get everyone. You know what I mean? You can get, if you get 1% of the population to watch it, that's millions and millions and millions of people. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. I do worry, you know, that there is a potential issue the same way the music industry has been kind of rocked through downloads, and that's kind of like a door that once it's been opened, it can't be shut again. They've tried, but it ain't gonna happen, right? Well, I see that same thing happening with TV and film. It already does. Like, people can download films, you can download TV shows. A lot of people seem to not mind paying the £10 a month for Netflix or whatever it is. So they're still very, very viable at the moment. So maybe it's just those cheapskates that still download it. But I think that's something that people are going to have to bear in mind, you know? I mean, it happened with the music industry. There's no reason why that wouldn't be the trend for TV and film as well.
In terms of the commercial aspect of the acting and the products of acting, or the TV shows and so on, this is affecting. So with all these, there's more and more platforms, certainly. You know, there's more theatre, there's more cinema, there's movies, TV shows, TV series. There's a lot more advertisements, you know, all of these things. So would you say there's actually more opportunities with the population rising? There's more opportunities for
Okay,
acting?
so there is more opportunity on a gross level, but there is also many more people than that trying to get the opportunities. So in reality, there's less. That makes sense.
I see. So with what's going on, it's kind of like you got this amount of people fighting for this amount of work.
Yeah. So there is a certain percentage of actors who get to the top of their game, maybe at the top 10%, who, once they reach that level, the work comes to them, right? And that's why you see the same faces pop up all the time, because it makes sense from a business point of view, right? If you're financing a TV show, you want to get people who are a safe pair of hands.
Yeah.
You don't want to take too many risks. You want people that people know, will draw an audience in, your money's safe. What that means is that people who haven't quite got there yet find it incredibly hard to kind of break into that upper echelon. And so you have this huge undercurrent of actors, which might be 90%, who are all just trying to kind of scramble to the top. And most of them getting halfway and falling back down again, and some of them kind of getting through.
Right.
But it's a real competitive industry, you know, it totally is, and make no bones about it, it's really, really hard. So you have to take every chance you can.
Yeah.
And you know, in some ways it's getting easier. The market is opening in terms of, you can now audition for international programs through self-tapes. You could be auditioning for a film in America and sending them a self-tape over, rather than 20 years ago you'd be limited to where you can physically get to audition. So there's pros and cons, you know, it's a thing that's churning all the time, and you know, in some ways it's getting easier, in some ways it's getting harder, but that's the way it always is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you have to take it as it is and just try your best.
Okay, fantastic. So would you say an actor who's looking out there for opportunities to develop, would you say it's best to use platforms like self-tape, would you say? Use platforms like that to get those videos get some footage of yourself playing some role, and get that across to directors.
Well, see, there's two different things. So you have a self-tape. A self-tape is where someone is auditioning for a role, and they will say you want to audition for it, but you can't make it to the audition because you live far away.
Yeah.
They will provide you a little bit of script, a bio for the character, and they'll say, Chira, you film this script at home for us in your bedroom, get the camera angle all nice so we can see your face, send it in, and we'll review it, and if we like it, we'll call you in, and we can pay for your travel or whatever. There is also a show reel, which is different. A show reel is made up of bits of footage from stuff that you've previously shot, and you collate that together as like your calling card. So if you're trying to cast someone, I say, well, here's my show reel, and you'll be able to quickly see all little bits of things that I've done previously and get a sense for my work.
Wow, that's very insightful, Ed. Thanks for that. So that's stealth tape and showreel.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely check that out and see if that's something that works for you. Moving on to the final question, Ed. We're really there. What do you think? What do you find to be the most fulfilling thing? What gives you some sort of job satisfaction being an actor?
Well, there's nothing like the feeling going on stage and getting the final applause. That's pretty cool.
In theatre.
In theatre, yeah. And when I did a theatre tour last September, so I got to do that every single night for 3 months, which was pretty cool. And you kind of get to a point where the first few times, if I'm honest, it's like this huge buzz, like, wow, everyone's applauding. By the end of it, you're kind of like, yeah, it's just another day in the office. Like, everyone, you applaud, you keep applauding. It's still great though, don't get me wrong, it never gets old, but like anything, you get used to it, you do it that often. But that's very rewarding, and also the process of creating performance pieces, like putting the play together and seeing it kind of evolve into this performance from just being on a script, that's really rewarding as well.
Yeah.
In terms of film, obviously seeing it back, seeing the actual footage coming in, and it's a funny thing because you go there and you do your thing and it gets filmed, and you probably don't even get to see any of that unless you're lucky enough to kind of check the rushes while you're there, which a lot of the time you won't be able to. So the next time you see it, it's been on this long journey through being edited, and the music's gone on it, it's been color graded, all these things have happened, and then finally you get this perfect thing back to you to see what's being made of your work, and it's a great thing to be able to do.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah. That's good to hear. So thanks for joining us, Ed. Yeah, and I hope that's covered so many angles of acting as a career. And if you've got any more questions about acting, feel free to leave a comment, and I'll get in touch with Ed and answer those questions for you. And we might even make another video answering them.
Definitely.
And if you like me to cover any other career paths, I'm hoping to cover as much as I can to give you an idea of what different careers and different fields are. Leave a comment below, and I'll be happy to make a video for you. So until I see you next time, thank you for joining. Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Chira.
Thanks so much.
Pleasure.
See you soon.